Hey, what's up, everybody? I want to welcome you to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Daily Recap, where we give you a recap of all of the hot topics that we covered that day. You can catch them in their long format and also catch it fully streaming for free on Apple Podcasts. As you guys are aware, it's been a crazy last few days in the NBA. Crazy last few days. A lot of things have been happening. One of those things that happened was Stephen A. Smith signing a new contract with ESPN worth $100 million over the next 5 years. And that seemed to just totally get overshadowed by the incident that took place at the Lakers game. I think it was on Friday between Stephen A. Smith and LeBron James. Now, I'm sure many of you are aware of some of the comments that Stephen A. Smith has been making about Bronny James and LeBron James. And to be quite honest with you guys, I think it's a very strange situation that went down. And I'm going to tell you why. If you paid any attention to what Stephen A. Smith has been saying about Bronny James over the last 6-7 months, you'll know that he has refrained from saying anything about him. If you guys think back a little bit, you remember Stephen A. Smith saying, I never wanted to discuss him when he was in college. I never wanted to talk about it. I never wanted to talk about him because I knew all the pressure would come with him. I only decided that I'm going to talk about him when he became an NBA player. He's always refrained from discussing Bronny because he understands his health issues in the past and all of those different things. So it's not like as if he's someone that has had a bunch of strong opinions on Bronny James for the last 2 years. He just only started talking about Bronny this season. And for the most part, especially ever since the season started, he's been highly positive on some of the things that he's been saying about Bronny James. Very positive. It's been other people that have been pointing out some of the low lights of Bronny, while other people pointed out the high points of Bronny James. So Stephen A. Smith didn't even talk about Bronny. It was only, I believe, after a game against Philly, if I remember properly, where Stephen A. Smith decided to talk about him and his production. And essentially what he was saying was, to LeBron, he was like, Bronny doesn't seem to be ready right now, right? So just pity him, like he doesn't seem to be ready. Well, apparently, those were the comments that LeBron James took exception with, and apparently that was the reason that he ended up confronting Stephen A. Smith at the Lakers game. Now, at that time, the Lakers were on, I believe, a 7-game win streak. Right? They were on a 7-game win streak going for their 8th game in a row in LA, and the Lakers had been red hot. That happens, and then just yesterday, I'm combing through the internet, and apparently some footage came out of LeBron James speaking to Richard Jefferson. You know, Richard Jefferson is former Cleveland Cavaliers teammate. I believe they won the championship together, if I'm not mistaken. Richard Jefferson, who works at ESPN. But essentially what happened was LeBron was speaking to Richard Jefferson about the Stephen A. Smith situation and the stuff that Stephen A. Smith was saying, and essentially why he went off on Stephen A. Smith. Now, what's unclear is whether or not that happened before or after that situation, but I'm going to assume it happened after the situation. So what we want to do is we're going to play the footage of that. It's not long, maybe, 20 seconds or so, and then we're going to come back and continue on the show. Take a look at this footage here. So you heard what LeBron and Richard Jefferson was saying to one another, right? They were basically saying that, you know, once you got to the whole father thing and all of that, like, I just can't, right? Now, let's just assume that this happened after the altercation, right? Because if it didn't, then it's going to look like it's premeditated. That Richard Jefferson knew that LeBron was going to approach Stephen A. Smith, right? But if that's the case, then Stephen A. Smith really got blindsided, even by one of his partners working at ESPN, because Richard Jefferson didn't give him a heads up. But then Richard Jefferson probably has more loyalty towards LeBron James than he would Stephen A. Smith. But I'm going to assume it was at the end of the game. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I could be wrong because looking at that footage, it could also look like it was before tip-off. So if it was before tip-off, then it looks like Richard Jefferson clearly knew that, you know, there was Stephen A. Smith has some flames coming towards him, right? He clearly knew. If it was after the fact, then LeBron was probably just going to talk to Richard, probably because maybe people in the arena saw it or people in the front row saw it, on the court side saw it, and therefore they were reacting to it. But essentially, LeBron was like, based on what I saw, he was just like, I was with you until the part you started talking about pity him as a father and all of that stuff. And that's when LeBron James kind of just said, look, enough is enough. You guys saw the footage. LeBron basically confronted Stephen A. Smith and told him, you know, keep my son out of this bleep, blah, 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 blah. I don't know what Stephen A. Smith said in response to LeBron James because we couldn't see his face, right? Here's what I think. Look, I think that Stephen A. Smith was clearly not expecting that. I don't think he expected to be confronted in that way, especially so publicly in front of all of those people, to have LeBron basically walk up to him, because the footage I saw of some other footage that was later on released, I think there was like a timeout or something. LeBron was sitting there and Stephen A. Smith wasn't too far from the Lakers bench. And then I guess LeBron just got fed up and was like, nah, I'm going to go say something to dude. And he stood up and just walked right over to him. It wasn't very far, like maybe 5-10 feet away from him. And then he went to go say that, and then Stephen A. Smith stood up and whatever they said. And then Stephen A. Smith ultimately responded by saying, you know, what LeBron said to him, keep my son out of this. Now, what surprised me was what Stephen A. Smith said in the aftermath of that altercation, basically saying that in this moment, it was a father that approached me. It wasn't a basketball player, and da-da-da-da-da-da. And I didn't like what Stephen A. Smith said for a bunch of reasons. Number one, him saying that it's a father that approached me, wasn't a basketball player, makes it seem like as if, well, now we've set the precedent where, so basically all of these guys that are in the NBA, whenever you say something about them, all of their parents should now start running up on reporters and confronting them for what they say. Like, that's the first part. Like, so that's where we at right now? Because if you're telling me, well, he approached me as a father, then all the other fathers and mothers in the NBA should be approaching you, and all the other reporters on a night in and night out basis to basically go at their necks for saying something about their kids that they 100% disagree with. So is that what we're doing? Number one. Number two, Stephen A. Smith was doing his job. I don't think he was being critical of Bronny at all. Now, pointing out his stats and the how poor they were, is it Stephen A. Smith's fault that the stats are what they are? Like, he's just pointing it out. We do this about all the other players in the NBA. We've roasted players like Ben Simmons and others. So Bronny's above that. The question is then, why is he above that? If he's not ready to get criticized and praised at the same time, then why are you in the NBA? So I didn't understand Stephen A. Smith tucking his tail and running for the hills and he's my father, he's a father. And a lot of us were like, yo, bro, like, you should have stood your ground and be like, yo, I'm doing my job. Right? I didn't make it personal. If you heard anything that I said about Bronny that was personal, let me know, because I don't think so to me, I didn't get that part. But hey, things are getting worse with this situation here surrounding Stephen A. Smith and LeBron James. And by the way, before those people come in the comment section with their silly ass comments at, oh, hey man, look. Why you gotta talk about LeBron James? Huh? Why you gotta talk about LeBron James? You gotta talk about LeBron James. You need the clicks. You can talk about LeBron James. Huh? You gotta talk about LeBron James. Last time I checked, this is an NBA channel. Sports, hot topics, classic debates. Is this not a hot topic? Why shouldn't we talk about why shouldn't we talk about it? That's number one. Number two, the vast majority of the people that are trying to curtail our content have zero interest in whether or not our channel performs well or our videos perform well. They don't give a damn about none of that. As a matter of fact, the vast majority of them don't even like us. So when you guys come in the comments, some of you guys trying to give me advice and, hey, you should do this, you don't give a damn about me. What makes you think I'm going to be listening to what you're telling me? Like, why would I listen to you? You a hater. You don't like the content, so I'm supposed to sit up here and take your advice on what to do. Matter of fact, what you need to do is go advise some of them other dudes that be sitting up there twerking it up all day long and pouring honey all over each other's booties all day for LeBron James. And speaking of booties, yo, I've been seeing some posts y'all be posting on the internet about LeBron. Yo, some of y'all need a redemption. Some of y'all need some serious prayers, some serious intervention. I can't, there's a whole nother section of this fan base that some of the people watching this show don't even understand this out there. They are on some other, you know what? It's on some next level stuff. For those who know, but the type of love they trying to show to LeBron is something I have never seen towards any professional athlete. I never felt that way about Kobe, son. Matter of fact, I never felt that way about no professional athlete at all. The way these dudes feel and the stuff some of them be saying, I don't even want to go into it. Y'all need to go spend more time trying to get redemption and go to church on Sunday and get some of that honey out of your veins before you start coming to my channel, our channel over here, and trying to litigate how we should do content. Y'all need to go get that out of your system. Some of y'all be on some other stuff. But anyway, I digress. So we all know the situation that went down between Stephen A. Smith and LeBron James, right? Made a lot of headlines. Everyone has reacted to it. But apparently, this thing is going to the next level and beyond. The next level and beyond. Apparently, some NBA players are deciding to take it to the next level where they are so pissed off at Stephen A. Smith and LeBron's situation that some NBA players are actually now starting to blackball Stephen A. Smith because of the situation between himself and LeBron James. So this is the story that we really want to get into right now. So just this weekend, I came across a post here from Sideline Sources, and we want to put it up for you guys now. It says, Stephen A. Smith says Draymond and other NBA players no longer speak to him after his comments about Bronny James. And it says some NBA players have cut off Stephen A. He says. What are my thoughts on this? I'm beginning to, when you hear these kind of stories, I then begin to visualize things in a way like, okay, well, what if it's me and maybe people I know, right? So just envision yourself, right? That let's say you're LeBron James, okay? But then you have other friends around you. We're not talking about yes men. We're not talking about people that are in your immediate inner circle, like your friends, the people that work under you. No, we're talking about your peers, right? People that their success is not tied to yours in any way, right? They're making their money independently of you. They play on other teams, blah, 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 blah. So I'm imagining now all of these guys in a room, right? Going back and forth over this conversation. And I'm imagining LeBron saying one thing about it. Like, yo, I'm not feeling dude, this mother effort, blah, 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 for what he said about. And I'm now thinking about all the other guys in the room. All of these other independent NBA players and all of them. And I'm just trying to figure out, so you mean to tell me LeBron feels this way? There's nobody else in the room that will be like, but yo, son, you can understand where he's coming from. Let's keep it a buck. Like, I feel you, but come on, at the same time, you knew this was going to happen. So there's none of that going on. So it's like LeBron got an issue with him. So all of us now are going to stop talking to him because LeBron got an issue with him. So nobody's having a conversation like, well, wait a minute. What about this? What about that? What about this? What about that? There's none of that going down. There's none of that going down. There's no disagreement. It's like, okay, we all agree. We're all going to follow one another. That's the first thing. The second thing is they're going to stop speaking to Stephen A. Smith for saying what? This is the part I'm trying to understand here. They're not speaking to Stephen A. Smith because of his comments on Bronny. But the question is, what comments? What are these comments that he said? What are the comments? All Stephen A. Smith said, if you follow the situation closely, Stephen A. Smith has been saying since last year, I refrain to talk about Bronny James. He said it. This is the videos out there. He said, I've always refrained to talk about him. I'm only going to talk about him when he comes into the NBA. And when he came into the NBA, Stephen A. Smith was up there twerking it up all year long for Bronny. It just got to a point where he pointed out his stats and then said, Bron, please pity him or whatever. Now, some of y'all are saying, well, why didn't Stephen A. Smith talk directly to LeBron James? Well, based off of the way I see things now, it doesn't seem like they had a line of communication to begin with. Because if they did have a line of communication, I don't understand why. Like, think about it. If Stephen A. Smith had a direct line of communication to LeBron, I'm not talking about through somebody else. I'm talking about directly to him. Why would LeBron approach him at a game? Why wouldn't, if LeBron was so pissed off, pick up the phone and call him? If you're pissed off at somebody, you pick up the phone and call him. That's what I would do. That's what you would do. I've been pissed off at people. I'm calling you immediately. Because if something is annoying me in the moment, I'm not going to wait until I see you. If I can reach you, I want to get it off my chest then and there. Let me call you. Yo, what's up? Da-da-da-da-da-da. You speak your mind, right? So I don't think they had a line of communication. I don't think they had a line, because some people may say, well, if you felt this way about LeBron, why didn't you say it to him directly? And I think that he probably would have if they had the communication. But then back to the whole thing. What did he say? What did he say that was so negative? What I've understood is this, and I'm slowly coming to terms with this in 2025. There are a group of people that see things one way, and there are going to be a group of people that see things the other way. And both of these people will never see things the same way. There are people watching this show, they're 100% in agreement with LeBron and his camp, and they just agree with it. 100%. They don't see the other side. And then there are other people on the other side of the coin that are like, I don't understand these guys. I don't get these people. And they see it a particular way as well. It just is what it is. And the sooner you come to that realization, the easier all of this is going to be for you. The fact of the matter is, we're just not going to understand both parties. I don't understand it, and they don't understand why I don't understand it. And that's just going to be the reality of the situation. But now they're trying to blackball, son. This is why I said it before, and I'm going to say it again. You making all that money, you trying to be friends with these dudes. I don't understand why. I don't get it. I don't understand it. You got all this money, but you still trying to be buddy-buddy with these dudes. I don't get it.